On today's live daily news, San Angelo's local cell phone provider is being bought by the largest 5G network in the country. But what are the consequences? Find out. Thanksgiving is days away, so we'll let you know what you need to know before you buy your squares. Plus, the animal shelter returns to the show. All of this plus more. I'm Matt Trammell, and this is Live. But before we get to the show, Meijer's Drug and Boutique is having their week-long holiday sale. The sale today kicks off in the boutique with we'll be having a 30% off sale on all of their purses. Whether it's Katie Loxton, American Dream, or American Darling, or others, save 30% on your purchase of a purse today. Then tomorrow, it's the perfect day to go shopping for the kids with buy one, get one on all toys and leggings. Go see Meijer's Drug and Boutique at the corner of Beauregard and Chadburn, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays, 10 to 2. They'll be closed for Thanksgiving Day, but they're having a huge Black Friday sale on Friday, so go check it out. We start the show with some developing news. San Angelo's locally owned cell phone provider West Central Wireless is in the process of being bought out by Verizon Wireless. That's right, after 35 years of service, West Central will now be transitioning into Verizon. Customers will not experience any change in their phone lines, bills, or contracts, but because of this, some stores will be closing down. One in particular is the store in Robert Lee. There are currently 3 stores in San Angelo, and then 13 in the surrounding area. It is unknown how many employees' job status will be affected by the merger. Yesterday, we told you about the scam that occurred at San Angelo's UPS, but just in case you missed it, through a corporate LinkedIn account advertised for holiday positions at the UPS. After 10 people showed up, however, they were told that jobs have already been outsourced. This put one individual in a particularly bad spot. She told us that she needed the job for the holiday season, and she even spent a $20 bill on an Uber ride to get out there. After hearing of this, County Judge-elect Lane Carter offered to buy the Uber ride for the woman. To add insult to injury, all of the potential employees were sent a text message this morning saying, quote, "We're sorry to see that you missed your first scheduled day at UPS." Well, safe to say she won't be going back there anytime soon. In court on Tuesday, a 20-year-old was given a sentence longer than he's been alive. It's right at around 9 o'clock on Monday morning. John Linden, 20 years old, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 1 count of indecency with a child by sexual contact. In exchange for the guilty plea, Linden will sentence 25 years for the assaults and 15 years for the indecency charge. Linden was found guilty of molesting a 10-year-old girl at around the Halloween time in 2019. At the time of the assault, Linden was 17 and the child was 10. Thanksgiving week is here, and with that, schools are no longer in session and everyone's getting geared up for that turkey and dressing. And if you're like me, though, you're not going to want to be cooking. That's not the best option. Well, don't worry, I have compiled a list of the best spots open this Thursday. The list, as you can see, is filled with local favorites like the Dunn Bar, Roxy's Diner for breakfast, and much more. Also, there will be plenty to do on Thursday night. A number of bars, including Fiddle Strings, Penny Tap House, and the Chadburn Tavern, will be open. But if you're like one of the young ones out there and you need something better to do, what better time to go see a movie than on Thursday night? But if you're going to be staying at home at the house, that's fine because everyone loves friends, family, and of course, football. This Thursday, there are 3 NFL games. The first will be the Bills versus Lions, and then the Cowboys take on the Giants, and the Pats and Vikings will end the day. Bills, Cowboys, and Patriots are all favored. Speaking of bets, if you're watching football in a gambling house, then you'll likely see a paper filled with boxes. This typical game called Squares is turning out to be the talking point of this year. Texas may be a gambling-free state, but Squares can be legal if you follow 3 steps. 1. Don't let the organizer or the house make any extra money. 2. Everyone must have equal chance to win. And 3, it must be in a private place, so you guys at work, wait till you get home. Either way, betting or not, this slate of games should be good. After Thanksgiving ends, though, the real action picks up because 3 Concho Valley football teams are gearing up for round 3 of the Texas High School playoffs. And one of those is, of course, the Wall Hawks. To get us ready for the matchup of them and the Idalou Wildcats, here is James Bellini.
Travel to the Mustang Bowl in Sweetwater this Friday to take on the Idalou Wildcats in round 3 of the Texas High School football playoffs. Last week, the Hawks met up with the Childress Bobcats at Buckaroo Stadium in Breckenridge and won 44-10. The Hawks put up 17 points in the first quarter and went into halftime up 20-3. The points kept coming for Wall as they scored 24 points after the break to the Bobcats 7. All the Hawks' yardage, though, came on the ground as Nathan Pepper led the team with 20 rushing attempts for 142 yards and 2 scores. Sophomore Gunnar Dillard ran for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns, and sophomore Garrett Guy had 28 yards and crossed the end zone once. 5 other Hawk backs carried the rock for a combined 158 yards. The defense put up great numbers as well. Dylan Gidney, Logan Thomas, and Ryan Allen led the team in tackles with 9. Brylan White, Ryan Andrews, and Thomas each had a sack, and the Hawks as a whole had 8 quarterback pressures. The Bobcats had trouble getting it thrown through the air as the Hawks had 10 passes defended, and Ethan Michael Awitz snagged himself an interception. This week, the Hawks have Idalou, who beat the Crane Golden Cranes last week 28-0. The only teams the Wildcats lost to in this season were Shallowater, Abernathy, and Holiday. They've put up 278 points this season and given up 199. Also, 4 of their games have been decided by 1 score or less. At this point in the postseason, though, all these teams are going to be good. That's enough for me, though. Let's go to Coach Guy and hear what he has to say about the Wildcats.
Coach, speaking of Idalou, they're a pretty tough team. Of course, every team is at this point in the playoffs. Do you have anything special that you're looking out for this weekend for them?
You know, we just want to keep building on how we capitalized last week, how we played offensively. You know, continue playing great defense, and I think we'll be okay. You know, they're a tradition-rich program. You know, they're not going to be a team that's going to roll over. They got character kids, they got quality program, they got quality coaches. So these guys, you know, we know they're going to give us a great test for 4 quarters.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend. This is Coach Guy with the Wall Hawks.
Thank you.
A lot of respect from Coach Guy there. Also out in the Wall, though, kicker Pierce Jamison has been nominated for the 3A Kicker of the Year. Last week alone, he made 5-point after attempts and 3 field goals. So go to SandrLive.com and vote for the Hawks kicker. Cover One will be there in Sweetwater this week for the showdown between the Hawks and the Wildcats. So if you can't make the game or get away from your in-laws, tune into SandrLive.com for exclusive coaches interviews, score updates, highlights, and more at around 4, 8, and 10 o'clock, only on SandrLive.com.
For more than 25 years, Carpetech has been serving our customers and communities with floor care and emergency restoration services. I'm Cade Simmons. Thank you for welcoming Carpetech and my family to the Concho Valley. We look forward to serving you.
Well, we're back. I'm Joe Hyde. I'm joined here with Morgan Chegwidden, the Director of Animal Control and Animal Services at the City of San Angelo, and with Jenie from the Concho Valley Paws.
Yes, sir.
And you know, Morgan, we were talking about this last time when you were on the show. We had a little bit of a crisis going on at the animal shelter primarily because a lot of animals were abandoned over the 2 years of COVID, and y'all had the no-kill policy, and you were overcrowded, and things were like looking really downhill. We put a lot of attention on it, and you've got a lot of adoptions. And tell us where we are right now with the.
Yeah, San Angeloans have shown up in force. They heard us and they said, we can help. And so we had a rough winter last winter, then went into our busy season, not set up for success. And so we definitely were in a space crisis like so many shelters across the country. And we're struggling, and we're regularly sharing, like, we're at capacity, we're done. Mm-hmm. So we're about 60 days out now from when we evacuated for a pest control. And San Angeloans said, well, I can take a dog for a week. I can foster through Concho Valley Paws. And then that just got a lot of momentum going that we've maintained. So going into that pest control treatment that like last weekend in August, we were sitting at about 280 dogs, which is well over.
So 280 dogs were in the dog pound.
In the shelter. And so today we started the day at 169 dogs.
And what do you consider your crisis level of animals?
So through that process,
Right.
we defined a very clear policy that anything over 180 dogs is my limit. I cannot exceed that. And so being at 169 today is close to that limit, but the lowest it's been in years.
In years or 8 years?
In years.
Years. Okay, so 169, lots of adoptions going on. Not as many intake, you think?
Our intake is definitely down. We've been under 300 cat and dog intake for about 3 months now, and which is appropriately low. And so lots of adoptions, lots of activity, lots of foster, people stepping forward and saying, well, I can do a temporary placement. And that's amazing and remarkable. A lot of folks participating in Good Samaritan this month, which is, I found a dog, I want to set it up for success. Let's get it its vaccines, let those kick in. I'll hold on to it for a bit and try to get it back to its owners without a shelter intake.
The animal shelter receives a lot of criticism from some corners of society here about not being forceful enough. So you're not using the big stick. Instead, you've gone using carrots, trying to get people to get their pets spayed and neutered and things like that. So do you think that you can continue using the carrot approach?
Well, we've shifted. You know, the last couple of years was tough for everyone. And so we didn't want to crack down on folks while they were already struggling. And so we have shifted over the last couple of months where, for example, for spay neuter enforcement in particular, we were encouraging folks, trying to match them with resources, get them low cost options through Concho Valley Paw's low cost spay neuter program. And that wasn't yielding a lot of result. Like I mentioned, we had a tough winter last year, and that was entirely puppies. Our canine intake for dogs under 6 months of age ate our lunch last year. We had puppies coming out our ears. And so that prompted us to make changes in how we enforce spay neuter. And so we are absolutely issuing more citations for folks that have been, notified, hey, this is the law, and you are in violation. And
So you're giving them a warning first, or is it just kind of you show up and say you didn't spay and neuter your dog?
There is that officer discretion to give a warning, but we're in a position right now where, for the last couple of years, other things have been families' priorities, right? And rightly so, right? People's health, people's jobs, all of those things. But at some point, your pet has to be a priority, and we do have to make that investment in a spay neuter to become compliant with the law, to prevent unwanted litters, and to invest in your pet's long-term health. And today's that time. We've got to make that investment now. And so to the extent we did give you a warning, we are now filing on those through the municipal court like a ticket process, that they're just notified in the mail later, hey, you were given a warning and you still haven't proven compliance. So we have in excess of 150-ish that we've dropped in the last 60 days in citations, complaints for failure to spay neuter. It's something we're really cracking down on.
Okay. Jenie, I'm going to go back to the previous thing. The outpouring of support from the community for foster dog parents, I guess cat parents too. I don't know. I mean, I hate to leave the cat people out because that's controversial. If you talk about puppies, you got to talk about the cats, right?
We love them all.
I mean the kittens. So what was that like? Tell me about the volunteer uptake you had at Concho Valley Paws.
Well, we did. We saw the community come out in force to volunteer and to foster. But we're starting to see a little bit of that decline as we head into the holidays because people are getting busier and busier. So I don't want to put the message out there that we don't still have an urgent need, because we do. We have an urgent need for fosters and adopters because as we place animals, more animals come in. But we are also doing that work on the back end to get those pets spayed and neutered with our low-cost programs. But the ones that are in the shelter right now need our immediate attention.
During the most immediate crisis, did your volunteer groups or volunteers increase 10%, 20%, 5%?
I haven't run the actual numbers on that, but we placed well over 100 animals.
Is that unprecedented
for fosters? Yeah,
Is it?
To have that many come up to foster, yes, it's not unprecedented. We've had some really good adoption months, but as far as just in foster homes, that was great.
That was good. All right, so Morgan, the city council passed some things, or didn't pass. They allowed you to accept a gift, right? Yesterday
Yes.
or Tuesday. And so why don't you tell us about that? You're fundraising for it, right?
Yes, yes, and we're so very excited. We want to gift the city of San Angelo Animal Shelter with 25 outdoor kennels and one 40 by 40 play yard. And this is so important to us because right now, every animal in the shelter is not guaranteed any time outside. It's just however many volunteers we happen to have that day, what our staff is dealing with that day as to whether or not any animals get out. And so 25 outdoor kennels will allow Morgan staff to remove the animals from their inside kennels, place them outside unattended so they're getting fresh air, they'll be secured, they're getting some sunshine, and then it allows the staff to clean thoroughly without trying to work around the animals in the kennel.
So this equipment would be like a force multiplier for Morgan staff.
Yes.
So it's kind of like hiring another couple people.
I hope it. I hope it turns out to be. I think it will make things a lot more efficient and effective. But clearly, it's beneficial for both the workers out there and especially for the dogs because it will get every animal out every day.
How much is this project going to cost?
About $42,000 total, and we've raised about half of that. So we are doing fundraising right now for it, and it's a very important project because not only is it going to get those animals outside, it improves their stay at the shelter, but it also increases their adoptability because it reduces the stress. So anything we can do to reduce their stress keeps them from developing certain behaviors in a shelter that will make them unappealing to adopters.
So right now the workflow is a volunteer can come to the dog pound. I'm going to call it the pound, and they can check out a dog, I guess, and walk it around the yards. But if you don't have a lot of volunteers that have a lot of time to do that,
Right.
a lot of these pets, these animals, are staying inside a cage.
Yes.
And you're saying it stresses them out.
It does, absolutely, because it's loud in there, and who doesn't want some sunshine?
Right,
Who doesn't need some sunshine?
It's an unnatural environment, right? A dog's supposed to have grass under his feet and sunshine on his face. And in San Angelo, we have an abundance of sunshine. So just getting those dogs out, getting them some TLC, and we think it's a really great investment. And playgroup and building this play yard is a much more efficient use. You know, if you have dog walkers, if I have 169 dogs today, let's say 120 of them are off their medical watch, right? Like they can go out for a walk. Do you have enough volunteers to walk 120 dogs? No. Whereas a play group, you can run so many dogs through it. And I've mentioned before, when I say I have 169 dogs on the premises, they're nice dogs, right? Like these are dogs that have been through a behavior assessment, have been deemed adoptable, and are just waiting for that forever home. So when we can run playgroup and build this appropriate large play yard, it's going to change how our animals really interact.
Okay, so you're $25,000 down. I'm rounding up.
Yeah.
How are you going to raise that money?
Well, right now we're getting ready to launch our online auction that starts on December 2nd. We've got some really great items. We have everything from computers to Roombas to tablets to iPads, jewelry.
A Roomba?
Roomba, yeah.
Like the robot
Yes.
vacuum cleaner thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of pet-specific gifts. So the auction is shaping up to be a really neat way that people can contribute. They can do their Christmas shopping online and support Concho Valley Paws at the same time.
And how do you get to the auction? You go to
It's through our website, cvpaws.org/auction, and it goes
CV,
live.
so that's Charlie Victor Paws,
Yeah,
right?
cvpaws.org.
Okay, .org. And then there's a big link, I guess, up there for the auction.
/auction.
So you can just go to /auction. People can remember that, /auction.
Yeah.
All right, so Morgan, you were talking earlier about this, I always ask you, where's the golden retrievers, right? And you said you never had any golden retrievers, but you said you had one named Thurston. Let's look at him real quick. Anyway, so Thurston,
yeah, if you squint your eyes, he's a little golden, but he's a good sized dog. So what I like about a golden retriever and a larger breed dog is they're easier to potty train. They are more hardy dogs. So Thurston is one who's definitely got those traits, and he definitely is golden. And
he just showed up. He just showed up on Monday, right?
We just got him in, earlier this week, and some dogs come into the shelter and they're frightened, and there's a lot going on, and it's slick floors, and Thurston was not that. Thurston did not care. Thurston was happy to just be, and everyone he met was a friend, and that's a really great trait in a dog.
Right. So he's available. At least hopefully he's available when we run this.
Yeah.
So Thurston is kind of an example of the kind of dogs that you can adopt at the pound. What about You said that you get kind of connected to the dogs when they come in because you're always around the intake. Jenny, are you at the intake too sometimes?
Well, we're working the adoptions, so we're marketing them the entire time they're at the shelter, and so me and my staff get incredibly connected to
Right.
these dogs.
So is there a favorite you have right now?
No, my favorite, well, one of my favorites actually went to a foster home yesterday, which was amazing. Graffiti, so that was awesome to see him get out of the shelter.
Right, that's awesome. So anyway, 169 on the dog count. You're past the crisis, but now we're going into the winter months.
Yeah, so we are definitely looking for San Angeloans to keep us at the forefront, keep thinking about us. As you have time and as folks are home for the holidays and time off of work, to the extent they can, check a dog out, get them some quiet time. Just the loudness and the noise in the shelter is its own battle that we're fighting. So definitely think about, taking a pet home and loving on them.
And Jenny, is it cvpaws.org? You can go and browse
Yes.
the pets that are available.
Yes, and you can apply to adopt, and you can also apply for our programs. You were talking about getting animals out of the shelter. We have two programs. We have Paws Pals, and then we have Pajama Pals. And so you can, if you're a qualified foster, we qualify you as a foster, but you can actually temporarily take the dog out. So even if you just want to take it out for the week of Thanksgiving, it gets it out of the shelter, reduces cortisol levels, reduces stressors, and it really helps that animal.
So you can just adopt a dog for 5 days?
Well, no, it's fostering. It's just taking it into your home, getting it out of the shelter, getting a little reprieve
For as little as 5 days? Mm-hmm. Really?
Sure.
Like checking out a library book. You're gonna love on it while you've got it.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna expect for that pet to come back. And
In one piece.
For sure.
Oh,
Well, and we know so much
absolutely.
more about the animal. They're like,
Yes.
do you know that this dog loves the garden hose and he wants to be out there chasing water in the garden hose?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we maybe never would have known about that
Right.
pet if he hadn't gotten those few days out to be with a home. Also, even if you check a pet out for 5 days, you're probably still talking about it on social media well after that.
Exactly.
And so your circle of influence is learning like, well, remember that dog was over at the Wilson's house and they just loved it and we're gonna, go check them out.
I see. So it's really like a marketing ploy. You're trying to get them to keep it for more than 5 days, aren't you?
We always love when that happens. But seriously, all kidding aside, the Paws Pals and the Pajama Pals, it shows us a different side of the dog, and it has that person who takes the dog, who volunteers to take the dog for the week or 3 days, or even just to the dog park. They invest in that animal, share it on social media, and you'd be surprised how many times we have adopted out to a friend or an acquaintance that has seen that dog on social media. It's really awesome.
And we're going to respect your boundaries. If you say, like, I'm going to be locked at home with my kids all day for 5 days over Thanksgiving, give me a dog to, like, have a hobby or whatever, but I'm bringing it back on Monday. We're happy to have that. We plan for that. And it's such a great investment for that pet, just in their mental health. And we are definitely going to honor that and be happy to have the pet back.
All right, looking into the future, Morgan, what do you think is going to happen over the winter? You think you're going to keep your levels where they are?
Yeah, so winter's usually our slow season, so intake for cats and dogs are down. Last year we just did not have that. Cats and dogs reproduced just throughout the winter season, and we are seeing some early indications that we're going to have a traditional slower winter. And so that gives us time to invest in our pet population and make sure they're getting everything they need, and additional, marketing and information gathered for all of them. We can address, special projects that we rarely have time to get done, facility improvements in the shelter, and so we're hoping to be able to tackle all of that this year and come out set up for success into our busy season. April, May of 2023 will be golden.
All right. Well, Jenny and Morgan, thank y'all for coming on our show today and telling us about the success. Isn't it good to have some kind of success to talk about?
Happy to report it.
All right, I'm Joe Hyde, and we'll be back.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Concho's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Concho's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Concho stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Concho's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo. Always good to hear from those guys, especially when it's good news. I know they've been here kind of trying to save it a little bit, but now, hey, look at that. animal shelter is right back where it's supposed to be. This is Live Daily News. It comes to you every day, every Monday through Friday, every weekday at 4 o'clock. We won't have one on Thanksgiving, but we'll be here every other day this week, so make sure you're here. Especially we got to cover one on Friday, as we're going to be covering those 3 Texas high school playoff games, so make sure you tune in there. Also, follow us on our social medias, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and you'll get notified every time that we go on here. And, of course, download the San Angelo Live app, as that's the best place to get any news that around the West Texas area. For Matt Trammell and all the guys here at San Angelo Live, we'll see you guys tomorrow.